ओडिशा गस्तरे प्रधानमंत्री प्रमुख सचिव पीके मिश्र IIM-Sambalpur नवम समावर्तन उत्सव में सामिल होइछन्ति। ओडिशा गस्तरे पीएमओ 2 टॉप ऑफिसर रहिछन्ति।
They have all come by merit, not by any reservation. So I think we should encourage more and more, and also world over, as Mr. Garg also will say, because women participation is extremely important, and lot of studies, economists and ILO, all of them talk about women participation. It is still much lower in India than many other countries. So I think we must encourage them to come more and more. And doesn't matter if they are 80% also, because they will. We are in Amrit Kal. Our Prime Minister had laid down a grand vision for India in 1947. Far-reaching changes will be taking place for India and the world in the coming decades. Some of the numbers were mentioned by Mr. Garg, how he said how it will become 30 trillion economy and how we have to build something which has never been built during the last so many centuries and decades. Prime Minister wants all of us to take the country to the next level through the process of reform, perform, and transform. In this endeavor, all of you will be playing a very, very critical role in ensuring that India becomes a developed country by 2047. So next 20, 30 years, when you work, that will be the most crucial period, not only for you, but also for the country. Today, India is having a good standing globally, and it is shaping both by internal transformation as well as shifting global dynamics. Internally, on the one hand, growing economy, young population, expanding infrastructure, and technological advance form our strength. Globally, India's geopolitical influence, strategic partnership, diaspora communities, soft power in terms of global influence, etc., highlight our country's growing influence. India has several strengths. I would give a few examples. Some of these were mentioned by earlier speakers. India has become a global innovation powerhouse with over 100 unicorns. We are the third startup ecosystem in the world. In fact, yesterday when I was in the flight from Delhi, next to me was a young man sitting next to me. He appeared somewhat familiar. Then he introduced himself. He was studying in the engineering college, Veer Surendra Sai Engineering College, Bulla there. He said he and some of his friends, about 7 of them, had met me in 2017 when I had visited. I was at MCL. They had come and they met. That time I was surprised. They said they are working on building rockets. So it was those days not very easy to understand that they are building rockets, Bulla Engineering College. They say they are building some small ones. They wanted some help, that if they can get some help from the ISRO space. So when I went back, I told the Secretary Space, and they very sincerely interacted with them and gave some help, some project and so on. So what he said, that much has changed last 7 years in all of their lives. He said he would have, through campus placement, he would have joined Infosys or some such IT company. But because of that meeting with me, and also the help from the ISRO, he has his own, now he has set up a factory manufacturing drones. So he belongs to Bulla only. Then he said he has now employed 700 people, out of them 300 are professionals. So instead of becoming a employee, he has created so much of employment. So he had a small startup, and it is still in the status of a startup. So I have been hearing a lot about the startup and Government of India policy and many things we are doing. But personally, I did not know actually how a startup works, how a person who has a startup, how I asked him a very probably a silly question, because 700 people manufacturing this, and he said, I said, how much bank loan you get? He said, we are still a startup, we don't get bank loan. He said, but as there, some venture capital, and he explained how he started, what he did. And I also asked him some question, how do you manage so many people? So it was a very exciting thing to know that one person, and of course he said all other friends, all the 7 of them were there at that time, they have all startups, somebody in education, somebody in some other area, somebody Bangalore and all that. But unfortunately, none of them have started in Odisha any startup. Of course, he said in Gujarat and other areas more response from but so I think some of you can encourage here startups, and some of you can have also. I told the Chief Secretary and others yesterday also, because when we were waiting for a long time at Bhubaneswar airport, that they should see how their policy can change, So that's a very big area. Our production-linked incentive schemes across sectors such as electronics, pharma, and solar are driving manufacturing resurgence. For you, this opens up exciting roles in operation, logistics, supply chain strategy, and manufacturing excellence. With over 800 million internet users, India's digital economy is booming. As you heard today, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, and Industry 4.0 are no longer buzzwords, they are reality. Digital India has connected hundreds of millions and platforms such as the UPI, the payment platform, processed over 185 billion transactions in 2024-25. Our digital infrastructure is admired globally and serves as the backbone of our inclusive economic model. Next one is India's climate commitments are bold. We aim to install 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel by 2030. We have launched the National Green Hydrogen Mission. We are also co-founder of the International Solar Alliance and Global Biofuel Alliance. Clean tech, green finance, electronics, vehicles, carbon trading, and circular economy practices will all demand trained, innovative minds. And that is where your skill sets will come in. There are huge opportunities. Our IT exports have surpassed 200 billion. As you know, only 5-6 years ago, most of the mobile phones we were importing. Today, we have huge export of mobile phone, and most of our mobile phones are now made in India. Our pharma remains the lifeline of the world. With increasing confidence in Made in India, global markets are more accessible than ever before. You could lead business that export to the world and manage global supply network from the Indian soil. India needs to create 8 to 10 million jobs annually. Jobs, I mean quality jobs, to absorb its youth. The challenge is not just job creation, but ensuring alignment between skills and industry needs. That is what is very important. We should develop skills which are needed by the industry. That, of course, needs a lot of interface between industry and educational institutions. We need to reform education, expand vocational training, and incentivize entrepreneurship. The government's Digital India and Skill India programs need champions in the private sector who can help impart digital skills to the underprivileged and mentor small business. After mentioning all these, the potentials which are there, opportunities which are there, and with your training here, you have huge opportunities. But to succeed, you need certain qualities. It is not merely technical skill. Technical skill is necessary for your success, but not sufficient. One's attitude and approach becomes important for coordinated and collective efforts. Interactions with stakeholders, colleagues, people, and even political functionaries are critical to our working together so as to achieve the national goal. Teamwork is probably more important than individual brilliance. Your effectiveness will depend on how you take your team together to achieve the overall objective of the organization. In fact, yesterday I was asking the same boy who had met me 7 years ago. When he said he had 700 people working, there are, of course, 2-3 of their partners they call, or foundation, the founders they call, and 300 engineers. I asked him, what is your main challenge? He said his challenge is how to keep the team together. There are sometimes differences. So teamwork is extremely important. Even he explained from his experience how the attitude which is important, how you interact with the people. He also even gave very interesting example. He said that because they have in-house design also. That's what he said. Design the drones, and he has people who are very qualified. Some of them are older than him. He said, when I discuss with him, I don't disagree with them openly. So these are some of the things we must learn, even if we are in the private sector, have our own enterprises. And in order to lead a team and coordinate their performance, openness of mind, mutual respect and humility are essential. Needless to say that the values of ethics and principles of transparency and objectivity are also extremely important. Even if you are in the private sector, the principle of ethics and transparency are very, very important. That is, as you must have seen, some of our companies who have done otherwise very well, their ethical standards are not as good, whereas some other countries, of course, nowhere it is perfect. The standards, the norms they are following.